For this episode of Global Topic, I have with me today Josh Shepard from Blast One International. Josh, thank you for participating in this interview. Hey, could you do me a favor and explain to the viewers what you do for Blast One International?
Yeah, definitely. So thanks for having me, Jim. What I do at Blast One, my role is kind of a little bit all over the place. Business development, sales, starting the industrial solutions side of the business. So working with customers on capital equipment purchases, such as blast rooms and robotics and whatnot for it. And then moved over to the contractor side, where now I focus more so on, supplying them with media, latest and greatest technology for the guys out there in the field blasting.
Very good, very good. Hey, so when we're talking about industrial blasting, industrial blasting, it could be steel, concrete, it could be on big structures, smaller structures, larger scale, small scale. What type of technology, when it comes equipment wise, what technology is out there and available related to industrial blasting?
Yeah, so I get that asked pretty often. I do a lot of work with the oil and gas, marine, railroad industry, just to kind of name a few. And there's a lot of technologies out there. A lot of people come to trade shows, kind of stop by and look at what we have to offer and then start asking questions. I guess the list would be something like the wet blasting / hybrid pots. Second would be the RIPT unit. Third would be the VertiDrive unit. And fourth, probably the Amphiblast bulk pot is the one we get asked the most on. In regards to those, the hybrid blast pots people ask about. Essentially, they're like Schmidt's Amphiblast or Blast One's Mist Blaster, where it incorporates 4 options. So you have dry blast, which is your normal blasting, a mist blast, which adds minimal moisture just past the valve, rather than in the pot to help cut down on dust as you're blasting. So it's not to be confused with a slurry blasting machine where the media and the liquids are mixed in the same pot. In a blast pot scenario, you don't want any moisture. Moisture's your enemy, so trying to keep that out of the pot as much as you can. Otherwise, you'll get clump and become less consistent with your blasting. So typically with those type of blast setups, you'll notice a lot less dust. That's what's going to come with using the moisture with it in the long run. The third option is a wash down option, which is strictly just moisture. And fourth option for those kind of pots are blowdown options. So that's only air. The benefits, you're going to cut down on dust. You're going to have a wide range of medias kind of at your disposal to use with those pots. You use probably as low as 1 quart of water minimum a minute with it. So you don't need tons of moisture or water to mix with it to kind of cut down on that dust. And probably the best part about it is it can pretty much be retrofitted to any existing pot. So it'll give you the capability to do all 4 of those functions. And it's definitely a game changer out there. The second thing, RIPT unit, which stands for Robotic Internal Pipe Technology. So this is used a lot in the tunnels, wind tower industries. And to kind of give you an idea to describe it, think of a windmill. So you have 3 blades, but instead of the blades, they're blast hoses with nozzles, and they're each fed by just a larger diameter blast hose. So the 3 nozzles spin clockwise, and as you drive this self-propelled unit down the penstock or whatnot, you can set the rotation speed and lineal speed from the control panel, which either could be on the unit or separated from the unit. Also has the option to put a camera on it, which is pretty useful because now you can watch it remotely, so you don't have to be there just following it down the tube, basically. You do that from, let's say it's 1,200 feet away, so it's a pretty cool camera. Size-wise, you can blast anything from about 18 inches in diameter to 30 feet, actually. I'm not sure if you saw the one that was at, where were we at? SSPC, I believe. And it was massive. It was spinning around, but yeah, it's a big jobby. Benefits from it: you're going to reduce the number of workers required on the project. It's going to make the process safer, as well as faster. Estimated production rates are somewhere in the 6 times the average of a typical blaster. It can be disassembled and reassembled within an hour. So if you have to take it apart and get down into a smaller area, you can't fit things, take it apart, get down there, build it back up, good to go. And another kind of cool option is that there's, very similar to the blasting application of it, there's a painting application as well. So once you do the blasting, pull it out, and then go in with the painting aspect of it. The next one that we kind of hear a lot of questions when we have it operating is the Verdi Drive. And this might be one of the coolest effective technologies out there for sure. The M7 series, to give you an idea of this, it's a little robot magnetically attached to the surface with an extended 3-foot arm. So this arm just swings back and forth, and it's covering the blasting pattern roughly about 6 feet. So it's utilizing 3 number 6 nozzles or 2 number 7s. So it's great for contractors working on projects such as ship hulls, towers, tanks, just about anything you can slap a magnet on, really. It's easy to operate with a little handheld controller. So you just basically have little joysticks. You got a drive function, you got turn functions, and then you have an arm speed function. And you can kind of just set it however you need, zone it in at eye level, and then advance it from there. It's a permanent magnet, so you don't have to worry about any kind of electrical source to the magnet being an issue. Electricity-wise, you're going to run off a 240 single phase. So that's at the control panel. It's ground level. The connection running from the control panel to the robot itself is going to be 24-volt DC. It's basically the same power as an electric deadman wire. We try to, focus on removing the operator from harm's way. And you're going to probably hear that from, anyone at Blast One, or probably hear it from me a lot today. So with this piece of equipment, it keeps the blaster and operator on the ground and lets the robot kind of get up there and do the dangerous work. So, yeah, like I said, the benefits: blast about 3 times faster than a single man, up to about 350 square feet per hour. Eliminates the cost of scaffolding during blasting and having a guy up there, running around with a nozzle hose hanging off the side of something. It can be used with a mist blaster and Amphi unit, so you can have that option to do 4 different methods of blasting: wet, dry, wash down, and blow down. Contractors, they love it because it's extremely high production rates, which mean, you get the job done faster with less manpower, and that ultimately winds up saving you some money, so higher profit margins. Lastly, is the Schmidt Amphiblast. So it's designed for larger jobs where you got a crew of about 4 guys blasting for 3 days or longer. Typically, it'll give you a good ROI on that in the long run. It's got 4 independent valves, so you have 4 blasting options, just as we talked about: dry, wet, soft wash, and blow down. But with this unit, everything can be run simultaneously by each of the blasters. So you can have 2 guys dry blasting, 2 guys wet blasting, 3 guys wet blasting, 1 guy blow down. However you want to mix it up, and it's definitely efficient that way. The best part is probably that if you got a big job, it's a large machine. It can store enough media for the entire day, continuous blasting, so you don't have downtime waiting for things to depressurize and refilling it like if you had to use smaller pots for the same jobs. Another neat feature that's an add-on for it is the vac fill ports, which allows you to load the pot from the ground, so you never have to have a suspended load of media above a blaster. Basically, just think of it's a suction hose attached to the bulk pot, and then you place it inside your bulk bag, whatever media you're using, and it feeds the media into the pots. That way you don't have to have anything hanging overhead. Safety-wise, like I told you I'd get to again, it uses a haylock system, which mechanically requires the operator to follow the proper procedure in order to open the 10-inch closure on top. So how it works is you have top tank closure has 5 locking handles utilizing lag bolts to ensure the extra safety support, and the haylock cover, essentially stops your ability to remove those lag bolts until all 5 handles are released. But you can't release those handles until the pot's depressurized fully. So mechanically, there's no way to really crack the seal on the top of the pot without it being depressurized, which safety, 100% right there. Also has a controlled expansion valve on it. So this system reduces blowdown noise levels to right around 92 decibels, which is about equivalent to traffic. And it prevents frost buildup during blowdown as well. I don't know if anyone's ever cracked open, one of those depressurizing a blast pot, but it can get excessively loud. Echoes. It's bad. Benefits, less downtime filling those pots throughout the day. It holds massive amounts of media, and when you do need to refill it, it's something that can be done either in the morning or at night with that backfill option. So it's safer. You ain't got someone up there dangling around underneath the load. You have the 4 different independently controlled blast options. So results in less dust. You're able to see more. Increased safety due to that haylock and the controlled expansion valve. And increased productivity because you're using Schmidt valves, so it'll save you time, save you, on media, abrasives and such. So time, abrasive turns into money, the less you use.
Yeah, I appreciate you covering all that technology. It's a massive amount. And what I'll do for the viewers in the description below, I will have the website address for Blast One International. And I highly encourage everyone to take a look at what Josh had just spoken about. There's videos and other information. The other thing is, I think their publication, monthly publication, is it called Insights?
Yep, Primed Insights.
Prime Insights. I'd highly recommend that people subscribe to that and get that, because it provides you a lot of the information that Josh has talked about related to the value when it comes to value equation for the owner, for the contractor, and then also a lot is covered related to the safety, efficiency, and everything related to what's available out there from not only Blast One, but there are other providers of technologies like this. But Blast One has a huge portfolio of products and solutions that are absolutely incredible. And to watch the videos and actually see a lot of this in operation, which I've had the opportunity to do many a time, it's definitely very worthwhile taking a look at and understanding exactly what type of technologies are out there. Now, Josh, the other thing I wanted to cover too is related to blast rooms. I've been to several locations with very large blast rooms, but the thing that I learned, working, almost 8 years in this industry, is there's all different sizes and all different types of blast rooms. They're not all, sometimes fixed in one location. Could you kind of go a little bit into blast rooms, what options are out there?
Yeah, definitely. So blast rooms, they can come in all shapes and sizes, like you mentioned. You can have a budget blast room where it's pretty much going to be the basic setup. If you're blasting maybe once a week, something of that nature, it's just a little pre-engineered jobby. You can go to a container blast room, which is a pretty neat setup. Basically use 20 or 40 foot long shipping containers, and then you retrofit those with blasting equipment. So these can be placed both inside or outside. They have, pretty much everything you'll need to do a blasting operation if it's under about 10 hours a week, as well as you have to ensure that the size will fit for you. The workpiece has to be less than 5 feet wide, so that way you can work around it. And if it's 50, 60 feet long, you're going to have to adjust for that because they only come in 20 or 40. So there's that aspect. Modular blast rooms, people kind of, this is kind of the mid-tier, where if you're getting into blasting, you got one blaster, you're looking to stay pretty busy, you can use these. They come in standard width of 8 feet, height 8 feet, depth about 20. You're going to have a full floor recovery system. So I'll get into the recovery here in a second, but essentially it means you don't have to sweep or have any downtime cleaning up media. You'll have a bucket elevator and an air wash system for the abrasive cleaning, as well as a storage hopper. It has a door on one end typically where you enter the item in, as well as a man door. As you keep going, there's the outdoor industrial workshops, as well as inside industrial blast rooms. These are going to be for people who blasting is a large portion of their work. You're blasting 10, 15 hours or more a week. You want something that's going to be effective, something that's going to last a long time. Ensure that your products have consistency of finish and quality. Everything's completed to like your standards essentially. Now, if you don't have something that offers you the ability to do that, where you don't have room or space available, there are temporary blast rooms. And these are kind of like dome shelters. Basically, you can set it up to where you have 2 swinging doors on the end. They can be big or small. And they're easy to implement and maintain, and they're relocatable. So, when the time comes where you're ready to tear it down, move to the next place, you can tear it down and go to the next area and rebuild it back up. It has shipping containers on both sides. You can use those as walls, or you can build it other ways as well. Now, there are the larger blasting operations, such as rail car blast rooms, where you have to take into account the weight that you're entering into these on rails, the amount that you're blasting. You're going to want a full floor recovery system in a rail car blast room because you're likely going to be going through a ton of media. You're going to be, covering nonstop rail cars all day. You're likely going to want to use a robot. So that's where the Blast Man, B20CX and other forms of that robot come into play, where you're able to basically do a 3D drawing of your room, implement whatever rail car you're blasting, or tank car, and write a program where it'll cover everything or a large portion of that item, and all you have to do is press play every time. So that's kind of another aspect of it. There's, in regards to blast rooms, people just think of the blast room, but there's other aspects as well, how it's talking about abrasive recovery. So if you're not blasting a lot, you can get by with a shovel and hopper if you do want to recover your media, or a sweep and hopper. Very similar. Sweep and hoppers go on the floor. You just sweep the media over to it. It's in the corner. It drops in, goes into a bucket elevator through the air wash and whatnot. Shovel in, same type of setup. You're just going to shovel it into it above ground. Then you go into things like cross conveyors, where at the end of your booth, you have essentially a cross conveyor that you just brush all the media towards. It falls on it and then takes it over to the bucket elevator through the air wash. There's partial floor U-shape recoveries, which what we notice is when you're blasting, quite often the media falls towards the edges and the walls of the blast room. So it's going to fall down. You're going to have 2 recovery systems or conveyors that lead to your cross conveyor, which then leads to your bucket elevator and air wash. And that's kind of the gist of those. Like you said, there's big, small, heavy blasting, light blasting, and it's all kind of has to be narrowed down to what works best for you, what product, or I guess what facility is going to benefit your needs the most of the time. And so
I appreciate you going into detail on that, because there's a lot to learn there. And the other thing is related to not only the technology has to be flexible and multi-purpose, but to know that blast rooms are the same way. They're very flexible and can be very multi-purpose and mobile and things like that. The organization I work for, obviously Society for Protective Coatings, we're a global training and certification body, and we have our one of our best training certification programs, is our SSPC C7 abrasive blasting certification. I do know that Blast One International, obviously you're an international company. You guys do training as well. What typical training does Blast One offer to the industry?
So a lot of what we do is train on the actual equipment. If we rent something out to you guys or you need help, we're there for the support. So we will come out and we will support you guys. Teach you how to use it, make sure it's operating and working correctly, and until you guys are ready to take over, we'll be there helping you with it. We do have different kind of classes in regards to abrasive blasting or coating applications. I think that you guys with the C7 course and how you kind of do the career pathway is an awesome setup, where you go from, abrasive blasting certification to, I believe it's the coating application specialist, and then down to the C12 for the spray application certification. And then you kind of, pick your mark in the world, which way you want to go. If you want to go to, plural components or water jetting or anything like that. So it's, there's so much training out there, and it's a good thing if you're a company who, wants to take care of your people and wants to ensure your company lasts for a long time, get as much training for your employees as you can, because there are dangerous aspects to blasting, not just immediately, but later on down the road with silicosis or other potential health hazards where it may not affect you in the first couple of months, but when you're a grandfather, when you're hanging out with your grandchildren, then you'll see the lasting effects, and that's something you want to be able to address and be taught about before you get to that point.
Yeah, I appreciate you talking about the safety aspect of it too, because when you really think about it, a lot of people really look at the training and certification more related to gaining efficiencies and speed, like you had mentioned earlier, and using less material and being more productive. But safety is such a huge element of it, and I do appreciate you, going into detail about the safety availability of the safety options related to equipment that obviously Blast One supplies out there. Josh, we talked a lot about technologies. We talked about obviously blast rooms and training and certification. Is there anything in closing that we didn't cover here that you feel is important to get this message or this next thing out to the people watching this?
Yeah, I guess if I had to think of something, we're in a bit of a weird stage right now with the whole COVID-19 period, where, in-person interaction is limited, and it's causing projects to be postponed, delayed, canceled, whatnot. Just want to let people know, we're still here. A lot of companies still fall under that essential category. They're still blasting, so there's still projects going on out there. If anything's needed, we're glad to be around. We're glad to help. Last one, we're offering a couple different things now that we just started, free virtual learning sessions, basically, how to increase profit margins on projects, good blasting practices, some of the training there, new equipment, abrasives that are available, equipment maintenance. So we're still, if you need something done, we can get it done for you at our facility. We're offering free shipping on all kind of repair kit orders as well. So if you need any troubleshooting and you're not able to leave or whatnot, we'll do virtual troubleshooting as well. So keep that in mind. It's all about safety at this time. Just trying to keep people in work, and the ones that are working, we want to make sure they have what they need.
Yeah, I think everyone in the industry, and I've been reading different articles about, elements regarding infrastructure projects, and we remember coming out of in the States here, the 2008 market downturn. The stimulus package was put together for infrastructure, and when it came to our industry and industrial painting, it was very good to see a lot of these projects taking off, because it really helped put people back to work, but it also benefited our industry as well. From what I read, I know there's a lot of pressure on Congress to help out. Currently, now in the immediate here, it's in March right now, going into April. Help now when it comes to shoring businesses up financially, when it comes to payroll, helping people pay their bills, because of this incredible shutdown. But also too, to look at, once we come out of this, we're probably going to need some major stimulus to really kickstart the economy back to what it was, say, in January and February, when it was hot. You couldn't even imagine how hot the economy was. So, and I do appreciate your insights on that. Hey, Josh, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today. And I will, again, like I say, I will, in the comments below, have information for the website address for Blast One International, but also put Josh's email in there as well. So if you have any questions or you have anything that you'd like to talk to Josh with, please feel free to reach out to him. Josh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I know we try to cover a lot of information in a short period of time, and some of it's probably confusing, and I probably got confused saying it. But feel free to reach out. Definitely, I'm here and I'm readily available right now for sure. So if you have any questions on anything, you want to dive a little bit deeper in it, feel free to reach out. Jim, thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate everything you guys do, and look forward to working with you guys in the future.
Excellent. Have a great day.
You as well.